and welcome to another episode of the Bubble Podcast. I am Adrian Bono.
And I'm Ian Mount.
And I'm Ignacio de los Reyes.
Today we're going to be discussing politics, we're going to be talking about social issues like gentrification, and we have a special guest today in our pop culture segment. Spoiler alert, not a woman.
Remember, you can always sign up for our newsletter at thebubble.com.
And follow us on social. We're TheBubbleCom on Instagram, TikTok, MySpace, and other social media networks.
Not on my fans yet.
OnlyFans?
OnlyFans, God.
Yet. Depending on how well it goes with the podcast.
Okay, so in today's segment, we're going to be talking about politics, but also we're going to be discussing the economy, which I have to admit I know nothing about or very little about. Fortunately, we have Ian here, who's our.
You buy and you buy things and you work, so you know a little bit about the economy.
That's true, but you know, I think I really suck at it, and I'm done pretending. There's also this thing that like people think that as a journalist you're supposed to know everything about everything, and I am always very open about the fact that yes, I know a lot about.
Get paid poorly.
Exactly, of course. But when people ask me, do you know about the economy? Like, nope, I can't comment on that. I can't comment on the economy. I'm not an expert. I know about politics, the economy, someone else. And fortunately here, Ian is the person to discuss the economy with. So I'm very happy to have you here. Te toca a ti. Okay. Exactamente. So today we are talking about something that I think that it creates a lot of debate, healthy and unhealthy. But very recently, in Brussels, we're hearing that Spain is once again the best performing economy in the Eurozone, and it's going to be again in 2026. So the European Commission has just upgraded Spain's growth forecast from 2.6 to 2.9. And it's going to go in 2026, that was 2025. And in 2026, it's going to go from 2.0 to 2.3, which means that Spain is now the highest growing economy in the Eurozone.
Or the highest growing big one.
Yes, from the big ones.
Cyprus gets to do what it wants.
Correct. From the big ones, it's the one that is growing the most, and even higher than Spain itself predicted. Right?
Yeah, they've moved there.
Yes. So whenever we're making predictions, we need to fix the numbers because we fell short. We actually grew, or we're going to grow more than expected.
Right. Definitely recently.
So there's a lot of reasons for this, and I want to listen to what you have to say because, as I mentioned, there's a big debate about this. Mainly because this is the macro, right? The macro economy is like Spain is like a rocket, right? But Pedro Sanchez likes to say, la economía va como un cohete, right? It's like a rocket ship. But a lot of people are not feeling that. In the micro economy, people are really miserable. So I want to know why. I want to understand why. So let's start with that. Just what do you think about this new forecast about Spain once again being such a successful economy in comparison to countries like Italy or Germany?
Oh, I mean, I think at the, as you said, at the macro level, it shows that Spain is growing faster simply because Spain is, well, I mean, there's several reasons. I mean, Spain has a lot of exports that are doing very well, specifically tourism, because tourism, you sort of export the experience and the fact that you're bringing the people in, but the experience is recorded as an export. People in the country are spending more. Their wages have gone up some. There's tons of immigrants, and that just means there's more activity going on. And trying to think what else. I mean, those are the largest issues.
So I found it interesting that from the things that the Commission said were the biggest drivers of Spain's economy through 2027 were a higher household purchasing power, lower inflation, and a strong, consistent job growth. and this combination is boosting consumption, and this is keeping the rest of the economy alive.
Right. I mean, it's definitely because exports, because of the American president's tariffs.
Yes.
Exports are a bit down of actual things, not tourism. The fact that households are getting richer and inflation's stealing basically their purchasing power, and the fact that there's a lot of EU funds coming in that are being turned into business investments and things like that.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I wanted to ask. Do you feel that the private investment in Spain right now is surging, like in areas like green or digital? I
mean, they're building a lot. I mean, obviously, they're building tons of solar farms. They're building data centers in Zaragoza. There's money coming. They're building I believe there's an electric vehicle battery plant somewhere in Valencia. There's definitely money coming in. I mean, I think, but we just to go to what you were talking about before. They always say that there's sort of three kinds of lies. There's lies, damn lies, and statistics. And you can tell, it's a dumb old cliche, but you can tell, you can turn a statistic into anything. So Pedro Sanchez can look at this and say that we keep revising upward the growth. It's como un cohete. And then the PP will say, yes, but look, real wages are still 5% below where they were before the COVID pandemic. And that, well, if you look at our growth, 2.9% sounds great, but there have been so many immigrants that a percentage of that per capita is actually just more people. It's not actually growing that fast. You're just adding tons of people.
Right. Because the job market in Spain right now is the strongest in over a decade, right?
But still terrible.
It's still terrible, but and in comparing it with other countries in Europe, where I think the median is like 6% or something like that.
Yeah.
We are at 10.4% in 2025. Unemployment. Yeah. And then it's expected to go down in 2026 to 9.8% in 2026, 9.6% in 2027.
Right.
But it's still very high.
Right. That's the contradiction. Is that you can say we're going to have the lowest unemployment in 15 years. Oh, great. What is it? 9.whatever%.
Right.
I mean, it's kind of ridiculous. So that's what I mean saying the sort of lies, damn lies, and statistics saying is that you can interpret this in many ways.
And we haven't even discussed youth unemployment, which is 25%. It's the highest in the EU.
People in the face of sort of extreme social exclusion, extreme poverty is there's something like 4.3 million people at risk of that, which is a huge percentage, and a third of those are kids. So it's a bit of a recovery and a boom, but it's multiple speeds and it's not touching everyone. And this is sort of why, if you look at it, I was try to think of this in the context of other countries, that what Pedro Sanchez is selling, he's running into the same difficulties that Joe Biden did and Donald Trump is right now, which is saying, look at the statistics, and people are saying, but I don't feel rich.
Right. Yeah. Is there, again, I have no idea of the economy. Maybe you don't have an answer for this, but why do we continue to measure the macroeconomy this way? I mean, don't you think that this creates a very strong resentment in the population, especially if you say, we're doing great, but people say, I don't feel that I'm doing great. So who's doing great, right? Is this a matter of inequality? Why is this happening? Because if the economy is doing great and people aren't feeling it, there's a disconnect there.
Right. It's just growing inequality.
It's a recipe for disaster, because this frustration then turns into anger, and then that anger turns
into politics and turns
correct.
into leaders.
And then when there's an election, people will vote very angrily. Yeah. So what needs to be fixed so that A, people are happier, or B, the macro reflects or takes into consideration the micro?
I mean, I think that in Spain, the same thing is happening as is happening in the U.S., just less so, if you will, but it's still happening, is that to the victors go the spoils. And let's say the boom is mostly going to the upper quartile, upper 10% of the economy, income-wise.
Right.
The 10% or 25% richest.
Right.
It's not really going... Or it's going. I mean, there's
and it's like the stock market, right?
It's like the stock market helps
record highs, but who's feeling that?
Yeah.
Right.
Right. No. Actually,
Is that an indicator of society? I don't think it is.
it's an indicator of what we think
Of
is
some
important,
part of society,
of
I
what we
guess.
think is important.
Right. Well, that needs to change.
I would probably.
As
think
someone
so.
who has no idea of finance and the economy believes.
Right. No, I mean if people feel blamed for being poor or for not being rich,
Right.
they will vote for the person who says they hear them and that they will totally reinvent society and burn it down.
Because there are some indicators in Spain for next year that are not so positive. Like inflation is expected to go up, right?
I think inflation is supposed to go down, but I think they were saying that
Or it'll be higher than expected.
higher than expected, and that if something goes wrong in the world, that's a generally vague thing to say,
No.
but if, say, other countries have economic problems, they won't send as many tourists to Spain because people want money. If the U.S. has a terrible slowdown, they won't send Americans.
Right.
If France has a real problem, they won't send a lot of French people.
Yeah.
So that's one issue. And then if the number of immigrants slows down, then there won't be people to take up the slack of work. I mean, there's a lot of things that could go wrong.
Yeah.
But I mean, you can't know.
It's funny that you mention immigrants because I was reading an article on El Mundo recently, and it was about the many Latino immigrants that have been coming to Spain, coming to Madrid, and it was just like the average article profiles of different people from Colombia, Mexico,
And
Venezuela.
I've read that article too, and I loved how much people complain about the weather.
Yes, and I mean, to be fair, I complain about it too.
It's like so hot in the summer, so cold in the winter. I was like, yes, I know.
Yes, this is why we can't have nice things. But what I was really taken aback by was we have heard and we continuously hear that this sort of like wave of Latino immigrants has really helped the economy because these are people who have been taking jobs that otherwise we would have not been able to fill. Right?
Or founding businesses that create money and
Correct.
You can sell arepas or whatever.
Correct. And yet there was a very negative response to it in the comment section, which I know it doesn't reflect
Yeah,
the
I
whole
think
sentiment
comment
of society.
sections are people
But also
who like
online, people were like, complaining about these people are taking out jobs, and I was surprised by the animosity towards the people that were being interviewed in the article. So.
Yeah.
Why is this happening? Is this part of what we said before? Are we just trying to blame someone for the fact that we're unhappy?
I mean, I don't know. I like you said, I don't put too much weight in comment sections because I think people who are inspired to speak in them generally are people who
Angry.
are unhappy.
Yeah.
You don't say, I love these people. Like it's not, it doesn't
No,
move
I
you.
agree. I agree.
So, I mean, I think what more moves people than disliking? I mean, I think young people, and this has been sort of borne out by polls and whatnot, and is that young people who feel like they'll never afford a house and they'll never have a real job and they're going to live with their parents until they're 40, they're unhappy.
Right.
And maybe some of them blame immigrants, but I think a lot of them just blame the government.
Yeah. Would you say that that's the main reason why people are unhappy these days? The fact that they cannot save money and they cannot
Buy a house.
Buy a
I
house?
think I would say that would be the top of my list. I mean, look, if you look back, like 2 generations, 3 generations, everybody's 2 houses. They have like the little house at the beach and maybe one in the pueblo and then the one in the city. And I mean, now you're looking at like, I can maybe buy a share in a 50-meter place in X neighborhood at the edge of the city.
I have one more question for you. And this is, I wanted to ask you about something that a lot of people here say, some of them Spanish, but also people who have moved to Spain who I've talked to, and of course, I'm sure that it's kind of anecdotal evidence, but this is still something that people say. And that is that without the EU, Spain would not be the kind of like the best student of the Eurozone.
Oh, I think that's totally true.
Is it true?
I think so.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think you can run that. And I don't think national governments get to make that many choices in the EU. I mean, they could make some around the edges, but a lot of what the changes they make are to fulfill EU mandates.
Right.
Like Spain changed its employment law to fill an EU mandate. Spain cut their budget deficit to fulfill an EU mandate. So, I mean, they can do some things, but I mean, I think the EU is incredibly helpful, both in providing like a market and a place where people can work and other people can come in and work here and so on and so forth, and send tourists and all that. And then also just to sort of govern the worst impulses in a lot of governments. I mean, of course, if the EU has bad mandates, then that doesn't work.
Right.
I mean, after the 2008 crisis, they like told everybody they couldn't spend money, and then there was just this huge, long recession.
Right. And without EU funding, where would Spain be?
We certainly would not have fast trains.
That's very true. And we're about to be able to like take a train from Barcelona to Madrid and vice versa for less than 2 hours.
Yeah. So that would not happen.
Thank you,
EU. The roads are really nice. That too is big.
True.
What else? I don't know. There's a lot of things you can do with EU money.
Infrastructure, bridges.
Yeah. All that stuff.
Okay. Well, I guess no complaints then.
I'm sure we can find. I mean, you can always complain.
There's always complaint.
But largely, I think you got to be happy about it.
Yeah. All right. Don't go away, because our next segment, Ian and Ignacio are going to be talking about gentrification in Spain.
Dun, 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 dun. Recently, Madrid's become one of the most popular cities to visit if you listen to all the magazine and newspaper headlines about hot places to go, dining, where immigrants are moving to from Latin America, from the US, from across the world. Add into this, there was recently an NFL game played at the Bernabeu in Madrid. There's going to be an F1 race in the city. There's huge numbers of people moving to Malaga, to Valencia, to Barcelona. And it sounds great, but at the same time, you have to wonder, right? Is there a downside to that?
I mean, estamos de moda, right? Like, that's supposed to be a positive thing. As you said, like many people are talking about Madrid, Barcelona, Malaga. I think Sevilla also and Valencia are getting their doses of gentrification. I mean, it really depends on who you ask. For digital nomads, renting apartments in the city center of Malaga, that's amazing. They would say it's very charming. It's probably cheap compared to big cities in the US. But obviously not so cool for locals who have to flee the city center because they can't afford living there anymore. It's not only people having to flee their neighborhoods because rent is going high. It also has to do with traditional businesses. I mean, you walk around many neighborhoods here in Madrid, and where there used to be a little shop owned by generations of business owners. There's a specialty coffee or something totally geared towards tourists and international crowds. Again, it's bringing money, and that's the argument that Ayuso or the mayor of Madrid make when they're also putting public funding into big sporting events like the NFL or La Vuelta. They say, yes, we pay all these events with taxpayer money, but actually all the money that comes from those events with tourists staying for a few extra nights in the city or going to restaurants or using public services, they also bring money to the city. I feel like we're witnessing the same thing that other like super popular cities have experienced in the past. And I'm thinking Mexico City, Lisbon here in Europe.
Absolutely.
We've seen this story. It's pretty cool until it's not. Do people actually want to live in Ciudad de Moda, or is the price too high to pay?
Yeah, I mean, I think the desire with most people who are from Madrid or have moved here and lived here for a long time is that it sort of flies high enough to improve the things that needed to be improved, but not so high it becomes like Lisbon, where the center has been hollowed out, from my understanding, and that you basically can't hear anyone who speaks Portuguese in central Lisbon. But it is very funny. What you mentioned about the stores opening is I think you can really trace the waves of immigration to the cities of Spain, and I obviously know Madrid more than other cities, by the different waves of shops that opened. Mm-hmm. Like there was a wave of arepas joints as the Venezuelans moved here to get away from Maduro. And then as things went south in Argentina, you couldn't walk a block without seeing an empanada joint. And now, as there are more Americans coming, there's overpriced coffee everywhere because you have to have a large to-go cup
And
if you're
pies.
American. And weirdly pies.
Yeah. It's becoming a thing.
It's a sign. I guess it was like the cupcakes in the U.S. and now it's become pie, just bigger.
Yeah.
So I don't know what's next.
I mean,
And Mexican food. There's been,
Mexican food in Salamanca. And that is like super interesting because I think gentrification in Spain is slightly different to what we've seen in other big cities around the world. Because we have like people coming from Anglo-Saxon countries, but also a lot of Latin Americans moving to big cities. I'm thinking Barcelona also has a huge Argentine community.
Absolutely.
Madrid with very like affluent people from Venezuela,
From
Mexico buying property in very rich neighborhoods
Nice
like
areas, yeah.
Justicia, Salamanca. It's funny because like I remember we brought this article in our newsletter saying that even the rich are leaving because
What's like the local rich are getting priced out by the foreign
it's
rich.
like Madrid is becoming a city for the ultra rich. So even people with a lot of money have to move somewhere else. If that's happening to rich people, what happens to someone who has minimum salary, who has probably a very like middle range job? Does it mean that they will need to leave their apartments for someone from another country to come here? Because that sparks a whole new debate about immigration as well.
Absolutely. Well, I mean, I think what happens, I mean, you can do sort of have and have nots, cut of the pie. Like people who own their apartments, they're happy.
They love it.
Because
Yeah.
gentrification is fantastic if you own an apartment because it's suddenly worth more money and you didn't have to do anything. If you're renting, it's pretty awful because you keep moving further and further from the center, and because your prices are going up and presumably your salary isn't at quite the same level, you can't save money and you can't buy a place.
Yeah.
So
We've seen some protests already, like anti-gentrification protests in Barcelona. By the way, Catalonia, it has like a rent control policy, right? Like which is aimed to kind of like curb that issue. Is it working? Like, is
well,
rent
I mean,
going
I
up?
think they've been the policy puts sort of a tope, put a cap on rents, but there are exceptions. So if you're renting for less than a year, you don't have to abide by the cap. So what a lot of landlords did is they took their apartments off the market and turned them into temporary apartments for not tourists, but students or people coming for 6 months or a year, which feeds right back into the gentrification. So there's fewer in the market, so people have to move somewhere else.
Yeah, and it seems there are like two currents of thought here in Spain when it comes to gentrification. You have like people like the authorities in Barcelona or Catalonia saying like we need to tackle this problem, and their answer is more regulation.
Right.
And then you have people like the authorities in Madrid who have the opposite views. We need to attract more international people because then
we need to build
open
a lot of apartments.
Yeah.
But sort of on the outskirts of the city.
Yeah, exactly. But it's also about putting money into big international events. I mean, you mentioned the NFL game. Like, that was really interesting because for the first time in Madrid, I saw a lot of American football fans taking over Plaza España and places where you wouldn't expect. And it's pretty cool to see international people enjoying the city. But at the same time, many people claim this is becoming a theme park for foreigners rather than a city where locals can live.
Yeah.
Right?
I mean, it was one game.
It was one game.
It wasn't.
Did you watch it, by the way?
Like 10 minutes.
Okay.
But no, I had some friends who went, and they said the atmosphere was great. And there were a lot of people, a lot of Spanish people who like American football, who had lived in the U.S. for a year or two and got the taste for it, and brought out their jerseys for their teams, not necessarily the teams who were playing, and that the Bernabeu, the stadium where it was played, the Real Madrid stadium, looked fantastic, and so all in all, I think it was a positive experience. And I was reading that the various lobbies for the different sort of sectors, economic sectors in the city, were saying that the visitors left sort of 22 million euros in just food spending and another 15 million in hotel reservations. So, I mean, I think it probably was a net positive for the city, and it was one day. I mean, there are limits. If you run these sort of events every weekend and the whole city center is, cordoned off just for visiting people. That obviously is not positive, I think.
Yeah, we're even going to have a Woody Allen movie filmed in Madrid.
I'm in fear of what that.
Because of the quality of the movie, or
well, no, I mean,
just
I think his movies have been pretty terrible for the last decade. But beyond that, I think he engages in deep stereotyping. Let's just say in his movies, and I worry what the stereotype of Madrid will be for this one.
Do you think it's a New Yorker that becomes a castizo all of a sudden, whereas as a chulapo and goes to bullfighting?
Exactly. Yeah. And then there'll be someone, dancing flamenco in the middle of Calle Serrano. And then it's just...
I mean, which happens every single
all
day,
the
right?
time. All the time.
Yeah.
Maybe a bull going down like the Castellana.
It's going to be funny because then Mexicans living in Salamanca are going to complain because Woody Allen is depicting Salamanca as a very traditional Spanish neighborhood now.
Yeah. No, and I'm just wondering about the movie title.
Do you have any bets?
Well, I mean, what is it, from
De Madrid al Cielo?
De Madrid al Cielo. And it's going to be translated in English. He's going to think that's really tricky.
From Madrid to Heaven?
Yes.
Why? Why is it, you think
I think he'll just it'll be attractive because it's mysterious
and spiritual.
Exactly.
Okay, I like it. I mean, you've been living here for a while already. Actually, of the three of us, you've been in Madrid for the longest time. What are the changes you've experienced in your own neighborhood, in your day-to-day life? Has gentrification really changed the city so much?
I mean, besides the rise and fall of the arepa joints and the empanada joints, and the weird number of smash burgers that are now sold in Madrid. Prices are crazy. Buying an apartment now is almost impossible for a normal person. So I think that really strikes me. Listen, the city's great. There's tons of stuff going on. It's cleaner and nicer, and buildings are being redone, and the streets are being redone. And there's a lot of pedestrianizing or whatever of streets and plazas and redoing. Like I live near Plaza Olavide, which is this beautiful round plaza that used to be a market in Chamberí, and they just redid it. It's fantastic. So I can't complain too much. And I am a homeowner, so I'm very happy about all this. But I look at it and I think now I could not buy the apartment I live in. Now, there's no way.
It's funny because usually it's been left-wing parties that used to complain about Ayuso's investment in international events and even the policies regarding housing. Something interesting is happening in Spain where also the far-right Vox now is talking directly to working-class people, saying that Ayuso's policies to attract international real estate companies and big property owners is actually pushing the working class even further.
Yeah, they're trying to jump on that wagon. They're both
competing for. So there's clearly something there. It feels like Spanish people have something against also internationals coming here, not because they hate foreign people. It's also
because how it affects their lives.
Yeah, so they feel like they're being left out of this beautiful deal of.
Well, I think there's it's like political marketing, right? Like the left used to sort of sell into this anger and be like, we can fix this, and now the far right is doing. I think that probably, Giorgia Meloni in Italy, I think, was good at that, at sort of appealing to working class voters who might have in the past been considered socialists or whatnot.
Yeah. We do love specialty coffees.
Flat white is great.
Do. Are you a flat white or a cortado type of guy?
I normally get a cortado when I'm at the Bar de Siempre, Bar de Toda la Vida.
Okay, but you're a local now.
Yeah. But at the one time every 2 weeks I go into a specialty coffee place, I get a flat white.
Okay. Once every 2 weeks, it's totally fine. Speaking of locals and Americans becoming Spanish every single day, don't miss our next segment where we're going to have a very special guest and we're going to test his actual knowledge on Spanish culture.
All right, we're back, and now it's time to discuss pop culture. And we have a very special guest today. You guessed it again, not a woman. Not a woman, but I promise that eventually we'll get there.
We have a problem, and honestly, that's not the way to promise. Like
what? Oh, come on! How hard can it be?
We'll have one
eventually. Okay. In the meantime, I'd like to welcome our friend Nick Rohady to the show. Nick, thank you for being here today.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, likewise. Nacho, welcome back.
Thank you so much.
Nick, you are an American immigrant living in Spain for 2.5 years.
Yes.
You're living in Barcelona now. You're visiting here in Madrid, but you lived here for 6 months or so,
Yeah,
right?
before Barcelona.
Right. You're from New York. You are now a pretty well-known content creator in Spain. You've been in the media. You've been doing interviews. People like to quote you. Your Instagram reels are going viral all the time. You got a lot of haters. Hopefully we'll talk about that too.
You've struggled with vinegar bottles and how to open a vinegar bottle,
Many things in this country.
which is part of the experience of living in Spain.
Absolutely. It's called culture shock.
Yeah.
So we're very happy to have you here because the goal here is to start having more people like you who join us on the show so that we can listen to what your experience so far living in Spain is. I think that Ignacio and I can relate to a point because even though we're both from Spain, we're both Spanish, we spent many, many years outside of Spain. So in a way, now that we're both back living in Spain, we also have had to sort of like get used to it culturally.
Yeah.
So I feel like we share a lot in that respect. So I want to ask you a few questions. Then Ignacio Nacho is going to do a citizenship test. He's sort of rubbing his hands.
Very good.
But since you moved here, what was the very first Spanish thing that made you go, wait, what the hell is this? How is this normal? That you feel that was like the biggest culture shock when you got to Spain?
Yeah, the biggest culture shock. I think, well, there's a couple. I think the little things you always hear of, like the time you eat, right, is one of the most basic and easy ones you see. Like you eat lunch really late, dinner really late.
Yeah.
And dinner is the smallest meal of the day, which to me is like the craziest thing in the world because I want like a big plate of everything.
Right.
But I think one of the other big ones that was a big shock is PDA. Do you know what that is?
PDA?
PDA.
Like the
Like
public displays of affection?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, of course.
But, I mean, we even have a term for
I was
it.
thinking of a Palm Pilot because I'm old.
Oh my God. Well,
Sorry.
so like we even have a term for it in the U.S., right? That there's this thing when you're out in public, you don't touch, you don't
Right.
kiss, you don't hug, and here people are sitting on people's laps on the benches and making out in the subways and this and that, and which is amazing. I love it. We should be doing that, right? But it's the first thing you're like, oh, and it kind of took me aback. It was probably one of the first ones.
That's very true. I hadn't thought of that. We are very touchy, feely, kissy.
I think also because we've lived in Latin American countries. I feel like there's that connection there. But yeah, to be honest, I don't make out in the subway though. Maybe I'm not that. Or maybe.
Well, these things.
Yeah.
I guess.
Maybe I ride the subway. By myself.
Maybe you spent a lot of time in Mexico. Do people not make out in the subway in Mexico?
They do. Make out depending the time of the night. Yeah.
Oh, I thought you were going to be like, depending what line.
Yeah. Well, one day I'll tell you a little bit about certain lines.
Now, Nick, how often do you go back home in the U.S.? Because home is New York. How often do you go back?
Well, now my parents have the family's moved around a lot. It's really typical in the U.S. to people
Right.
move around. So my family's all over, but I go back twice a year, maybe. Obviously, it's hard to get everyone together, expensive, long flight.
Yeah.
But yeah, twice a year is I try to.
And what's the one thing that when you go back, I assume that there are certain things that you've picked up now after living here for so long. Is there anything that when you go back home, your friends or your family look at you and like, what is this?
Yes.
Since when do you do this? Since when do you talk like this? Is there anything that at all?
There's a couple. I think the biggest one's when I got to eat, because there's a lot of differences when you got to eat from the U.S. and Spain. The biggest one, even the menu, the price is different. They put the tip on at the end, or
Right.
the tax on at the end.
Yes.
And the
Plus
tip,
tax.
and the tip, and the tax. So you'll be like 30% more, and and I'll see like a coffee for $5, and I'd be like, oh, it's so expensive.
Right.
And then Mexico's like, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
Things like that. But I think also the biggest one that's probably the most Spanish that I've adopted is when you pay and they take the credit card and they walk away with it. And I'm like, and I want to go grab it. And that's the biggest thing that like you forget that doesn't happen here.
What is one gift that you bring your parents or your friends from Spain every time you go to the US?
Jamon.
Jamon?
Ham. Oh, it's illegal, so I don't do that.
I was going to say, like, no, you don't.
I don't do that.
Don't.
That is very
But
wrong. You should never do that.
If you were to take any gift, that would be jamon.
And if we're legal,
it would be ham.
Yeah.
yes, exactly.
And a lot of ham.
Wink. Good. Ignacio, why do you... Don't get him in trouble. Don't get him in legal trouble, okay?
I don't even have my citizenship yet.
Last thing we want is Vox.
We're actually working for the authorities.
Thank God
in both countries.
Thank God there's no eyes here, okay? Let me just say that.
Yeah.
So I have another question about, like, since you started doing your videos, what you do, like, most of the time is you comment on things that are done differently between Spain and the US, right? And what's one thing that you think that Spain does better than the US? And sometimes maybe the US will not admit that.
There's a couple. The easy one's food, right? Like you think like a tomato here actually tastes like a tomato, like little things like that. I don't know what they're doing with agriculture or rules or what you can't put or can put in the land.
Right.
So that's a big one. But also like probably more realistically is gun control. Like I'm not afraid to speak out about it. Like it's, both my siblings have kids. I have nieces and nephews, and I've heard on separate occasions from both of them that when the kids go to school in the morning, they think this could be the last time they see them. Like,
Oh my God, I've heard that so many times.
It's a real thing.
I've heard that, and it's a terrible thing.
Yeah, so like, and you come here and you're like, well, that doesn't happen here.
Yeah.
And so you think, well, why is that? And then you all what's the common denominator is that there aren't guns here, or much less.
Yeah. It's interesting because I heard that from a close friend of mine living in DC, and she told that to me, and I thought it was really sad and terrible, but I never thought that, probably a lot of people think this way. Because
It's normalized.
considering the absolutely, it's normalized now. And this is it's a sad conversation, but the other day we were discussing as a serious conversation in journalism how many people do need to die now in order to make the news when there's a school shooting. Because if it's like 5, 4, it just
You don't hear about it.
No, it's not news anymore. It's like really sad. But anyway, on the flip side, what do you think is the most chaotic? I say chaotic for lack of a better word, but what do you think is a chaotic thing that we do here that no matter how many times you try to understand, you're like, tío, yo esto no lo entiendo. I mean, I have no clue what's going on.
Chaotic.
It's a hard question, so you can take your time to think.
I think I love to go like shopping in my neighborhood, right? So I think one of the things that you see is like if you ever go to like a popular.
Where do you live in Barcelona?
I live in Gracia, which is like
fancy. Yeah, of course.
My apartment's not that fancy, but yeah.
Yeah, it's still a fancy neighborhood.
It's nice. But if you go to like a traditional Spanish, well, of course you guys have Spanish, what do you call butcher shop or fish shop or something. And on a Saturday morning, where everyone's buying for the food, and there's like 1 million people there, and there's no ticket number, there's no line, there's
It's kind of like the Hunger Games.
Yeah, but and it is like it is pristine. The grandmas and the moms.
There's a system. It's chaotic, but it's still a system, right?
People are screaming. There's this. They're eating. There's coffee. They come, leave, go shopping somewhere else, come back, and somehow the order is still maintained.
I mean, also, I think it's because you're considered, is it an honorary abuela of your neighborhood? Like, why is that? Like, what happened there?
Okay, so it's happened both in Madrid and here. I love to cook. I like to, go to I prefer not to shop at Mercadona. I prefer to shop at the groceries, the local shops. And who are there? There's always like the older ladies that are, in the morning with little baskets, the carritos. And so I start chatting them because I was trying to practice my Spanish, trying to practice my Catalan. And
but like, for those of you who do not know Nick, I suggest you follow him on Instagram, Spain with Nick. That's at Spain with Nick. He speaks great Spanish. and he also speaks great Catalan now. I think better than mine. So good job.
Thank you. I moved here not knowing any Spanish. So one of the easiest ways, two easiest ways to meet people are like going on dates, and then also talking to the people shopping in the morning because they want to talk to someone, right? And I noticed it immediately, so I would always talk to them, and they're giving me their recipes, they're giving me their hints and tricks, and they're inviting me for coffee, and so like I just made this little group of friends. There's a group of 3 of them in Barcelona.
Nice.
Love it. Also, like complaining about prices, that always works in any country.
And they give me the gossip of the neighborhood.
Oh, you know all the gossip.
The cotilleo, yeah.
Love it.
El salseo.
We should start like a salseo series, maybe. And you've lived in Madrid, you've lived in Barcelona. How would you describe the vibe of both cities to someone in the US who maybe is considering moving to Spain? And
Especially as someone from Manhattan, because it's such a different vibe.
Yeah, I think well, obviously, they're definitely very European, and I know that's not one thing, but really for an American, there is a underlying tone of Europe.
Yeah,
and it's very European. But think if you took New York and Manhattan and LA and put them in Spain, and for me, Madrid is very, very much New York. It's very cosmopolitan. It's very, the buildings. It screams, this elegant. I don't know what the word I'm looking for is. People dress up. It's very much built
sophisticated.
on sophisticated, the social life at night. Right? That's very much Madrid in my mind. The culture of great museums, all that. Like it's very much that. And then for me, Barcelona is like California.
Right.
Another great place. A lot of people. Also, very educated and really great place to live, but very different. I mean, people a little bit more laid back. You have the beach, and that's very much part of the culture. Yeah. So for me, I see them as 2, right?
Yeah. It's funny because you mentioned dating, and that was my next question. And I know that the comparisons are not fair because obviously dating life in New York, dating life in Los Angeles, they are very different from each other. Mm-hmm. And they're obviously also very different from dating life in Spain. But how has it been for you? How has it been dating in Spain, both in Madrid and Barcelona? Do you feel like culturally there are major differences, or it's been very similar?
Between the US and Spain, or Madrid and Barcelona?
No, Spain in comparison to the US.
Okay.
And if you feel that there's differences between Madrid and Barcelona too, then more than welcome to hear them.
Yeah, okay. I don't think it's that big between Spain and Barcelona, but the US and Spain, there definitely is. I think, what are the biggest differences? The more I think about it, there really aren't that many differences. I don't think.
PDA?
I would say no. Well, the PDA.
PDA in the subway.
The PDA would be the big one, right? But then I think apart from that, I don't.
But you know how they say that sometimes, for example, I read a study recently that LA is the worst city in the US for dating. And to an extent, New York is also it's really hard to date in New York as well. So is it as hard here in Spain? Do you find it easier? Do you find that people are more open? Is it just like casual dating? Is there are people looking for relationships? Are people just looking for like touch and go? You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think that's exactly what you said, right? I think they're very similar in that regard because think of the 4 cities, right? You have people coming from all over that come to the city, so you have just this abundance of options.
Right.
And what happens when people are human, right? Well, you go on a date, you probably have another date tomorrow.
It's hard to pick.
Yeah, so then that's I think with all 4 cities, they share that in common.
Huh. Very interesting. Sorry, Nacho, you were going to say something.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's interesting to see the differences. And I mean, as an immigrant from the US living in Spain, I mean, I'm sure you've seen all the changes in your neighborhood, in your city in the last 2.5 years. A lot of people are talking about gentrification. Like Ian and I just discussed that topic. How do you feel as an immigrant from another country when some people say we're having like too many foreigners bringing higher salaries from other countries and like gentrifying the cities? Is that something you see, or is it something you've even like suffered as a local now?
Yeah, it is. It's absolutely something I see. It's absolutely a problem. There's absolutely something that needs to be done with La Vivienda. What do they call it? I don't even know the word in English now. The housing. There are definitely a lot of people that come here as digital nomads to work here for a little bit and then leave, right? And you even see that. Like I had to recently look for an apartment, and all of the options, I mean like the overwhelming majority of options that are there are short-term rentals, maximum 11 months, right? That's just the...
That's me.
Yeah, exactly.
And I'm Spanish.
Yeah, so it's this thing, you see it like everywhere, and the prices are going so much, and when you see that the average price of rent in Barcelona is higher than the average salary, something is not right. And again, is it partly the fault of these people that are coming? A little bit, maybe, but is it also partly of maybe underlying structure? Also a little bit. I think it's a very complex problem. And what is the answer? I don't know, but it's tough because then you see these people coming in here, and a lot of them are, they're my people I know, and they're people that I probably would care for at home, but they come and they want to enjoy the best of Spain without giving back to it, right? They want to eat paella on Saturday, but not learn how to make it. They want to come and I don't know. They want to come and dance and go out the nightlife, but then don't want to do things with those friends in the morning. It's that thing where they just come. A lot of people come here and want to really enjoy Spain. You see, it's not just people from the U.S. It's all over. It's one of the biggest. It's the number one travel destination in the world, right?
Barcelona. That's number 2.
Yeah. So people come and want to enjoy, but then those people that want to stay and just keep enjoying, but then not actually get back to it. Well, what happens after 6, 12, 18, 3 years, 5 years? It loses the essence, and then it's just no longer Barcelona. So I think that's what people are seeing. People are seeing that people don't want to say bon dia when they walk into a store in the morning. The smallest things that make people feel seen and heard, I think, is what we're seeing.
Yeah. By the way, promotional moment. We have a few very good articles about the housing problem in Spain written by Ian. So go to thebubble.com, subscribe. If you become a paid subscriber, we have a few deep dives on the housing problem and whether foreigners buying property is also part of that issue. But I'm not going to do any spoilers. Go to thebubble.com and check it out. I mean, what we love about you, Nick, is that you've truly become a local. It's not only the language. I know you know the culture. You really make an effort to be part of that group of abuelas fighting for the last lenguado at the pescaderia. So I'm going to ask you a few questions to test whether you're ready for the Spanish citizenship. As you know, people who want to become a citizen, they need to go through this test. To be honest, we don't really care about whether you know all the provincias in Spain or whether you know who the head of state is. We know you know. But we feel there are other questions that every person from another country should go through to actually test their commitment to this country. Are you ready?
You can call a friend.
Okay. And by the way...
Mira, te voy a decir una cosa, el amigo soy yo.
La amiga soy yo.
That's also going to be in the test.
Yeah, that's going to be in the test. I'm going to start with a very easy one.
If you need help, I can try and help you.
With a comodín.
Yeah. But you only get you only get 2 saves, okay?
Okay, fair enough. We just make up the rules, we don't really have.
I'm ready.
Any options. Okay, Spanish omelette. Con cebolla or sin cebolla?
Well, claro. Bueno, la cosa es que yo prefiero. English. I prefer it with. I prefer it with onion, but a lot of people don't, and I know it's the biggest debate in this country.
I am so disappointed in you.
But no, listen.
I'm the one handing the passport.
Do not talk to me.
But I don't like the cooked onions. I never make it with onion.
Right? It's gross.
Wait, you like eating the tortilla with onions?
You have to make another pan. Cook onions is separate.
That debate.
Separate? I cook it all together.
You're supposed to cook it all together.
Yeah. Okay.
I didn't know that.
Let's just do partial credit.
Let's see. You passed the first one. Okay. Second one. This is about politics. I'm sorry. This is tough. So Leonor is our princess of Asturias. Okay. But who is Spain's true people's princess? I'm going to give you 3 options.
Okay.
A. Belén Esteban. 2, Bárbara Rey. 3, Noemi Argüelles.
Well, for me, as someone who has learned most of his Spanish from this woman, Belén Esteban.
What is your favorite Belenismo?
When she tried to say Merry Christmas in Basque. And but if you remember, you saw her. She tried to say it, and she was saying it over and over and over, and it didn't come out. And I'm just watching. You're like, what?
Love it. By the way, our dream is to have Belén Esteban as a guest in this podcast.
She's gonna be the first woman.
Can you imagine? Well, hopefully we have more women before her, because I don't think she's going to accept our invitation.
I have a feeling that Belén Esteban would kill it in this podcast.
I agree.
And we are going to have a full Spanish episode. If she promises to come here, we'll just do a full Spanish episode and we'll just subtitle it. I'm willing to do that just to have Belén here, because she really is the people's princess.
Yeah, forget Duolingo. This is the true like immersion course into Spanish language, Belén Esteban.
Do you say hasta luego, Mari Carmen?
Of course I do.
Okay, there you go.
Love it.
See?
Okay, I see you're fluent in Spanish pop culture. This is tougher.
Okay.
So, according to Paquita Sala's favorite medium,
21st century philosopher.
what is the winning number of the Christmas lottery, Lotería de Navidad?
This is so cryptic.
1993,
You're so evil.
2, 1983, or 3, 2025.
Get mail. I don't know which one this is.
I can give you. I
I've seen it.
I can give you like a clue.
Okay, give me a clue.
It's the number. What were the? Can I get the numbers again?
1993, 1983, 2025.
Okay, so the answer is the number that's closest to my birth date, which I'm old, by the way.
83.
Yes. But
I was going to guess that, but
there's a trick.
Okay.
There are 2 numbers missing. And actually, Paquita has to choose the other two numbers. But yeah, you did well.
Son seis números.
Yeah, seis números.
Okay.
We need to bleep the
No, we don't.
by the way. Yeah, we need monetization, Adrian. So, question number 4. What type of chorizo works best in a paella valenciana?
Never, absolutely not. I would be deported from the country if I even thought of doing that.
Love it. See, this
He's
is the
Spanish
kind of
already.
test.
Give him the citizenship right now.
Love it. Okay,
He deserves it.
This is tough. How many minutes does it take for a Spaniard to say goodbye on the phone? A, 30 seconds. 2 minutes. C, 12 minutes. And 3, venga.
The lads are probably still on the phone right now.
Yeah, they're probably saying.
Is that a trick question?
Bueno, venga, va. Okay, who is more powerful? Again, politics.
Okay.
Who is more powerful in this country? The King of Spain, the Prime Minister, or Presidente del Gobierno, or whoever has 5 Airbnbs in Madrid?
Well, that's a tough one because are Airbnb still legal here?
Yes.
Oh yeah, okay. I don't know that anyone watching has Airbnbs.
It's very legal.
It's very legal.
Okay, so then probably that. I imagine people have way more than 5.
Yeah, probably someone with 5 apartments in Madrid is
That's poor.
earning more money than Pedro Sánchez is.
But,
Yeah.
I mean, there's like people who own like 50.
But people always tell me the like in like the US you look for like the highest paying job with this and that. Here you want to become a funcionario. That's like the Spanish goals, what everyone always tells me. I need to become a funcionario.
Because you get tenure and then like you were employed for life
Stable
until
salary,
you retired.
yeah.
Stable salary.
Yeah, it's either that or like heir to someone owning a lot of property in Barrio Salamanca, but again,
That is
probably
true.
easier to be a funcionario these days. Okay, which of these Spanish singers has not won the Eurovision Song Contest?
Ooh, okay.
Maciel, Salomé, or Llurena, also known as Tamara, also known as Ambar?
Okay, what? You would like to answer?
I just
Are you
want
applying to the citizenship now?
Well, I will say, yeah.
I just wanted to ask if he knows who Llurena is.
Yeah, of course, I watched the show.
See,
Amazing.
like,
No,
you know, I know we're dealing with.
He deserves the
There you
passport
go.
right now.
Yeah.
I mean,
This guy deserves the passport right
And
now.
I
by the
love
authority
Maciel. I
given
love
to me
Maciel.
by
The
us,
king?
by the owner of 5 Airbnbs, we declare you an honorary citizen of Spain
Ole.
and mirror connoisseur of
Congratulations.
Spanish culture. Congratulations.
You did not disappoint, Nick.
Yeah, it's not valid. I mean, don't just like throw your American passport to the rubbish.
Yeah.
It's more powerful than the Spanish one now.
Oh, yeah.
Well, I think it's always
American
been. I think it's
one?
always
Yeah, of
been.
course. Yeah, it's always been.
I didn't know that.
We're number 4 in the world.
And by the
along
way,
with
you're gonna
Germany
have
and Italy.
the face of Belén Esteban stamped in the passport. Instead of the
Ilamagui.
Ilamagui.
Yeah, love it.
Nick, it's been a pleasure to have you here. Thank you for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
We're very happy to have met you, and hopefully someday you can join us again.
Awesome. Thanks for having me.
Thank you for coming.
It's been fun.
Everybody, it's been another week. We'll try to get a woman for next week. No promises. In the meantime, stay safe. We'll be back next week with more.